Alright guys, so right off the bat I just want to say I'm sorry for being a lot later with this video. I just got really busy this week, didn't have a chance to get it out. But I'm usually documenting sort of every vehicle that comes out each week, whether it's like an in-depth review or just buying it and giving a short review. I always like to sort of cover these vehicles. But this vehicle this week is a Western Rampant rocket bike based off the Rocket 2 trike. Doing some research on this bike. This bike's pretty sick. I don't even know. I think there might only be one of these bikes in real life. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, this bike actually, some cool facts about this bike. So this thing, in real life, at least the Rocket, what it's based off, the Rocket 2 trike. This thing has a V8 Hemi engine and has 1,000 horsepower and can reach 100 miles in 4.5 seconds. I think that's just crazy. I believe this was even on the Jay Leno show back when that was sort of airing a number of years ago. But yeah, definitely a pretty cool bike, pretty unique bike. You'll see here I was sort of messing, or a couple seconds, or 10-15 seconds ago, I was sort of messing with the remote options. I wanted to see if this, obviously I didn't really expect it to, because this isn't like, this is a bike, it's not a vehicle. It's not like you have, your doors or a hood or a trunk to open up. But you'll see here, I'm basically going to take it back to my CEO office, take it back to my custom mod shop, going to customize it. I just sort of wanted to drive it around real quick, show that a little bit with the sort of the stock version, give you a stock look of the vehicle, as well as just drive it around a bit. But like I said, just taking it back to the mod shop. I will say a couple things just driving the stock version. Acceleration and speed seems pretty fair, pretty well. I wouldn't say it's necessarily exceptional. I still think something potentially like the Tron bike and the Hakuchu drag may beat this. Again, I'd have to test it. I'm sure someone's tested at this point, but just off of me feeling the vehicle out, I'm not sure if it necessarily beat the Tron or the Hakuchu drag. Like I said, I still think the speed and acceleration is fair. I just don't know if it beat, either of those two vehicles. It'd be interesting to see. So I don't know if it quite lives up to its real life, potential of what the real life one is. But in any case, like I said, let's customize this bike out, and then we'll drive it around a bit with the, sort of drive it around. Drive around the customized version, see if it really changes that much, and just get a feel for it that way. Alright guys, here's the customization coming up. The thing I wanted to correct that I said earlier, I said that this was on the Jay Leno show. I think I got that confused. I said it was not airing anymore. I think I got that confused with the American Night Show or Late Night Show that he did before. But he still does his Jay Leno Garage, and I think that's what this was on, so I messed that up, but I just wanted to correct that. But basically, just so far as customization is concerned here, there's not really too much you can do. I mean, considering it is a bike, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't say that in a sense. I mean, there are some bikes that have really good customization, but there isn't a lot you can really do to it besides really changing the air filters. I mean, obviously you have the upgraded transmission, brakes, engine, and whatnot, but as far as, the normal upgrades are concerned, I mean, you can't change the air filters, and then there's also the 10 unique liveries. That's really about it. As you're gonna see here, I'm sort of going through them. I got them really quick this time. Like I said, there isn't really a whole lot of customization. I still think the bike is fairly unique. Like, I was thinking back to some of the other bikes we received over the years. If you take into consideration something like the I want to say the Nagasaki Shitara bike, which is the Tron bike, or the LCC Sanctus, sort of the bike that's actually on the podium vehicle this week, sort of a Halloween-esque bike, has sort of that skull as the front in the rib cage around where the gas cap would be. I would say those are probably the two most unique bikes we've received, or at least as of recent, but that was like 2 years ago. I mean, we really haven't received any really cool or unique bikes since then, in my opinion, at least that I can't think of off the top of my head. So this is definitely pretty cool that we received another really, I would say, unique bike. It's a lot different than your typical like sports bike or the choppers that we have and whatnot, or that we typically receive. So I think in that case, this bike is really cool. You even see here there's a Lost MC livery. I think a lot of people probably I don't know. I mean, I didn't see a lot of people riding around with this. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people, took that though. I think that's pretty cool. Definitely a lot of cool liveries for this. But despite the customization, I still think it's a pretty unique bike. Like I said, a lot different than anything else we have. A couple other things to note. It does have a primary and secondary color, which you'll see eventually. I'll sort of go through that. The primary color I want to say covers the majority of the top of the bike, and then the secondary is more of the lower part of the bike, or I might have that mixed up. Like I said, I'll show you when I get to it. I will go over that. And then the other really big thing I would note here is that the wheels on this bike are completely unique, I believe, but also you cannot change them. So once when you buy this bike, there is no way to change the wheels. I'm not sure if there's any other vehicles in the game you can't change the wheels to. I'm assuming there's got to be at least one or two. I mean, despite like the ones you could take in the MOC and whatnot, I don't know if you can change the wheels on some of those. But as far as ones you can take in the regular mod shop, I don't know. I can't think of off the top of my head if there's any other vehicles you're pretty much stuck with those wheels. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if there's one off the top of my head. I can't specifically think of one, but this is definitely, in this case, this is another thing. You can't change the wheels. I don't even know if I'd really want to change the wheels, to be honest. Usually if they're unique wheels, I typically just keep them on the motorcycle, or the vehicle, whatever it is. But yeah, I think in that case, it's still, I don't think that changes my opinion of the bike. I still think it's a really cool bike. It's unique. Like I said, taking into consideration the other, bikes that we have, in sort of comparing the uniqueness of them, I think this is still sort of a, I'd give it a high rating just based off of uniqueness. It's very different from really any other bike that we have in GT Online. So I'll let you guys check out the rest. I think there's not really too much more after this. I think I just about gone through it. This is the last livery you're seeing here. But you guys check out the last little bit here, and then I said I'll drive it around for a bit, and then I'll end the video there. So another thing I want to go over real quick before we drive it around is, despite being able to store this bike in your clubhouse, you cannot call it in from the interaction menu as an MC president or as a member of an MC president, as you can do with the other bikes. So unfortunately, I don't really know why they didn't add that in, but unfortunately you cannot call it in from the interaction menu. So hopefully they'll add that in the future. Alright, so here's the final product of my bike, or at least what I came about to. I believe I went with a primary and secondary brushed aluminum, and then I changed the air filter as well, and I believe the real life version had more of an air filter like that, or the triple intake. So I changed that, and then I also have the Ignorance is Bliss livery. I believe it's the last livery. I like this livery just because it sort of kept I feel like the brushed aluminum was the closest color to the real life one, sort of that silverish or metalish silverish color that the real life one had, and it also sort of has like a little bit of a Halloween vibe. You see sort of the blood all over the front of it. I thought that was really cool. So that's sort of why I went with that livery, because like I said, it kept the color and it sort of had more of a Halloween vibe to it. I believe I was trying to get a thumbnail here, or maybe a screenshot, but you saw sort of when I was turning there, one big thing that I didn't really mention when I was first driving this bike is the turning in this bike is very difficult. I'm assuming part of that has to do with, obviously, it's a lengthy bike, but the turning radius of this bike, it definitely is not that great. You're not going to be able to take really quick turns with this. So definitely take that consideration for races. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend taking it into a race that has a lot of turns. You even see up here when I'm sort of about to get on the highway here, you'll see I sort of slow up or have a little bit of trouble getting around that turn. I had to slow up there. If I probably would have hit it as fast as I was going, I probably would have ended up hitting into the sort of the guardrail there, or that cement guardrail. But But yeah, I mean, as far as like I said, acceleration and speed, I'm picking it up here. Um, I don't know, like I said, I don't know as far as the Shitaro drag or the Hakuchu drag. I'm sorry, I just mixed those two bikes together. That'd be an interesting bike, mixing the Hakuchu drag with the Shitaro, Nagasaki Shitaro. That'd be really interesting. But despite, or looking at the Hakuchu drag and the Shitaro, or Nagasaki Shitaro bike, which is basically the Tron bike, I don't know if it necessarily beat those. Obviously, I think the handling on those bikes are a little bit better. I'm not sure about speed and acceleration. I still feel like the Tron may beat this. I don't know about the Hakuchu drag, but I feel like those could or maybe beat this. Like I said, I don't know. I still think the speed and the acceleration on this is probably like above average. I don't know. Like, to be honest, like, bikes isn't my best class to sort of give recommendations with, or really, I don't drive a lot of bikes. It's not really that. I don't really drive a lot of bikes. That's really what I'm trying to get at here. So I don't want to say something and then I'm completely wrong about it. But based off of just feeling those other bikes out and whatnot, that's just sort of what I'm getting from it. But I definitely watched sort of like a video that really tests these bikes out to really give you a better idea. The other thing I wanted to see here, since this thing has really big tires on the back, you'll see me taking it off road here. Even saw when I was sort of coming up the road there, or coming up sort of that hill there, it was like flipping around a bit. I don't know, as far as off-road, I definitely don't think this is. Some bikes are obviously, fairly decent off-road. I definitely don't think this is one of them. You'll see here, I think I was trying to get another screenshot or potentially a thumbnail, so I was sort of messing around here. But you end up seeing coming up here after I sort of, it's true, like I said, I was trying to record this for the Rockstar editor, but you'll see when I'm coming up, number one, I struggle when I'm trying to back up. I really struggle with the turn. You'll see here. But going down the road here, I think I hit like a little bit of a hump or something on the one side, and I just completely sort of knifed the bike, and then I just flew right off. So coming up right around here, I think it might have been this little bump right there. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even going that fast, and I just hit it, and I just sort of flew right off. So I should just give you a really good idea of, again, this is not something you want to take off-road. Like I said, the turning's pretty bad, so, like I said, I think the biggest thing about this bike, is, like I said, fair acceleration, fair speed, but I'd say uniqueness is the biggest thing. And, like, I'll say this with all, I say this in every single one of my car videos or new vehicle videos for GTA. That's what I look at with a lot of these vehicles. I don't always necessarily, sure, I like to see how it performs, and I think that's a big part of it, but I always like to see what's unique about this and what separates it from other, vehicles in its class, or in this case, other bikes in GT Online. So, I think that's the biggest part of this, and really what I look at. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't consider taking this into races necessarily. I mean, even if it does end up stacking up well with speed and acceleration, the overall handling of the bike I don't think is that great. So I'd say you're more getting this bike for show, in my opinion, and just the sheer uniqueness, which I think is fine as well. But like I said, performance isn't the greatest. I'd probably give this bike at least I'd say around a 7 out of 10, just considering that there's a lack of customization. The performance isn't the greatest. The speed and acceleration is probably average. But I think the uniqueness really makes up for it. Like I said, 2017 was one of the last times we got a really cool, unique bike. With the the Nagasaki Shitaro and the LCC Sanctus. You could say the MK2 Oppressor. I want to exclude that just because I feel like that bike is really overrated, in my opinion. And I think it did a lot of damage to GT Online, so I'm going to exclude the MK2 Oppressor. Obviously, we got that a little over a year ago, but yeah, definitely this is definitely one of the unique bikes that we've ever got. Maybe may go down as one of the most unique bikes we'll ever get. Who knows? I definitely think bikes is not something that we get a lot of in GT Online, so I don't know, depending on how long, GT Online goes for and whatnot, depending on if we'll get another really cool, unique bike sort of stacks up to this and the Tron bike and the LCC Sanctus. But in any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it beneficial. Hope it'll help you decide whether you want to get this bike or not. And, yeah, guys, as always, have a great day.